Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about how the Ohio cops shot a pregnant shoplifter who, at the time of her death, was attempting to run at least one of the cops down, which, of course, the mainstream media and then the idiot leftists as well that are also follow mainstream media, which is also leftist run, obviously, are obviously trying to paint a false narrative here. They're obviously trying to make it seem like, oh, some cop just fatally shot some pregnant chick. It's like, no, they fatally shot her ass after she was trying to literally run them over and get away from the scene of the crime that she was committing, is what it is. So, and the thing is, like, I'm not even pro-cop, really, honestly. But, like, this is just fucking ridiculous is what it is, dude. And unfortunately, it's something I've talked about many times on this channel in the last year or so now, where when you have people not actually doing their jobs, specifically county prosecutors in the state of Ohio not doing their fucking jobs, and letting all the Kia boys run wild and letting everybody else do all their own stupid bullshit, here's what it is. And you're basically letting free reign happen and being like, okay, Ohioans, you're on your own now. By the way, if you're a certain demographic, I can't talk about what the demographic is on this channel, but if you're that certain demographic, a little bit not white, basically, you can do whatever the fuck you want and get away with it. That's exactly what this prosecutor is telling people at this point, dude. And the same thing with these moron mayors like Justin Bibb and Andrew Ginther, etc. And that's the problem right now. You have these Democrat mayors and these Democrat hell pockets in the state of Ohio who are basically sitting there, bullshitting and playing the victim and stuff like that, when in reality, they're the ones 100% at fault at this point because it's them not doing their damn jobs as mayors, as city councilmen, as county prosecutors, etc., to actually deal with the criminal element and say, hey, Ohio is not going to be fucking California 2.0. We're not going to be fucking New York adjacent, etc., etc., and allow the bullshit going on in these states to fucking filter over to our state is what it is. No, we're going to be hard on crime. We're going to deal with this fucking shit, and they're going to have consequences, is what it is, dude. And that's the problem right now. You have an entire group of people think there's no consequences for their actions right now, and it's exactly what leads to shit like this, honestly. Unfortunately, for the unborn child in the situation, they never got a chance to see life because their dumbass mother made a fucking retarded mistake that honestly was probably one of many retarded mistakes she made in her life, honestly. And then you wonder why now two young boys, as well for that matter, are not going to grow up with mom anymore. Which again goes back to something where it's like, it would be one thing, like, and this is the thing we talked about before, with the whole like AOC thing where it's like Cortez is all like, oh, they're trying to steal bread to feed their families. Yeah, pretty sure, a chick who's like 6.5, 7 months pregnant almost, because this woman that was killed in the situation was due in November at some point. Pretty sure when you're like second trimester going to third trimester and you're stealing a bunch of bottles of alcohol, pretty fucking sure that you don't actually give a shit is what it is. And does kind of make me wonder if she was trying to give that baby fetal alcohol syndrome is what it really was, honestly, dude. So, anyway. But, and of course, how the media portrays this, specifically the Associated Press here, which was just how the left portrayed it as well, for that matter, which is basically, police in Ohio fatally shoot a pregnant shoplifting suspect. Yet it could have easily been that headline, could have been that, and it could have been comma, who was attempting to run them over at the time. Because that's how it should have been written, honestly. Yeah, it says, Blendon, Ohio. Police in a Columbus suburb, and I never even heard of that place, by the way. Police in the Columbus suburb fatally shot a pregnant woman in an Ohio supermarket parking lot after she accelerated her vehicle towards an officer, police officials said. Takia Young, 21, of Columbus, died Thursday evening in Belden. This would have been sometime last week is when this would have happened then. So the supermarket employee told officers who were at the store for an unrelated matter that multiple people were fleeing the store with stolen items. It says Blendon Police Chief John Brefford said that included Young, who had allegedly taken multiple bottles of alcohol. One officer went to the driver's side of her vehicle and told her to stop. While the other officer moved in front of the vehicle, said Young then put her car in gear and accelerated towards the second cop who was standing in front of the vehicle. And the officer directly in front of the vehicle's path fired one shot through the front windshield. Young's car then traveled about 50 feet before coming to a stop on the sidewalk outside the store. She was pronounced dead a short time later. Young was due to give birth in November. Her family told Columbus Dispatch. Her unborn daughter did not survive the shooting, unfortunately. Young was also the mother to two sons, ages 6 and 3. Again, what? Like, here's the thing, right? If you're going to be a so-called parent and stuff like that, what the fuck is the matter with you, dude? That you're going to have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and now you're pregnant with a third one. So it's like every 3 years you seem to get pregnant is what it is there. Why would you be committing crime, dude? Like, seriously, come on. And here's the thing, right? Like, in the state of Ohio, it's not as if this chick wasn't most likely on the fucking benefit system in the state, honestly, dude. Because the fact of the matter is, if you have kids who's under the age of 7, you can be on EBT and the cash assistance for that matter. So it's like, yeah, why would you be in a place stealing shit, dude? Or was it one of those situations where it was basically like, well, everybody else is stealing shit, so I might as well steal shit too then? But yet, because you are, 6.5, 7 months along almost there, you were a little bit too slow compared to some of the other ones that could get away a lot faster than you. And that's when the cops were supposed to try to stop you is what it was there. And then your dumbass decided to be stupid instead of just taking the... And that's the thing, right? You're talking about potentially, depending on how much she was actually stealing, it would have probably been misdemeanor theft. Like petty theft, basically. Now, granted, if it was over $500, then it would have actually been grand theft, and you could have gotten a felony charge for that one. And most likely her daughter would have actually been born in prison, or at least in the Ohio jail system anyway, for that matter. But the entire point of the matter is, it could have been something as little as, hey, you stop, you take the arrest, you take your fucking consequences for the crime you committed now, and you're still alive, and so is your unborn child. And this is the problem right now, dude. It's stupid-ass fucking decisions by people that lead to stupid-ass consequences. And unfortunately for everybody in the situation, now this woman's child will never see the light of day. Now she is basically going to be, buried probably in a casket right next to her unborn kid, is my guess, honestly, at this point. Or maybe they'll just do some weird, double casket where it's just her and the baby in one casket together or something like that. So, it's just ridiculous either way, man. But anyway. Continuing on, though. Says, Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is leading the investigation of the fatal shooting. The names of the two officers and further information about them, including their ages and races, had not been released, nor should they be. So they were on paid administrative leave while the shooting is being investigated, which is standard procedure for such incidents, that Belford guy said. Said shooting was captured on body cam video, but it wasn't clear Monday when it will be made public. Said Young's family told Columbus Dispatch that they have many questions about the shooting, mainly why she was deemed a lethal threat. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you literally said, I'm going to go ahead and yank my fucking gear shift down and then start to accelerate at someone standing in front of my fucking car. Maybe that's why she's a lethal threat, you dumbasses, because she has a fucking 2,000-pound vehicle charging at someone. And I'm going to tell you right now, dude, it doesn't matter if the guy's a cop or not, for that matter, dude. You have armed citizen trying to stop a fucking shoplifter, and this motherfucker tries to tell at me. Guess what, dude? Fucking 17 rounds for this bitch's windshield is going to be. For real. Because I'm not going to be fucking hit by your dumb ass trying to steal shit and then trying to kill my ass by moving me down is what it is. And that's just a simple fact of life, dude. You have the right to self-defense in this country. You have the right to not be harmed because some dumbass criminal wants to do some dumbass shit and they get away with it, is what it is. It's just fucking ignorant shit, dude, is what it ends up being, seriously. And that's the problem. Had her fucking family, who I can only assume was probably a single mother at this point, and another follow-us home is my assumption, honestly, at this point in history. Had her dumbass family actually raised a better fucking child, maybe she wouldn't be stealing shit at the age of 21 while she already has a fucking kid who was clearly born when she was fucking 15 years old, for that matter. And that's one thing people don't realize. And I went on, so I just thought about that right now, actually, because this is 21 and she has a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. So she had a 6-year-old, or she had her first child at the age of 15, so she got knocked up at 14. And then she had her second child at 18, being knocked up at 17. And who's to say if that was the same guy or not? It may have been multiple baby daddies, for that matter. Hell, this third one could have been a different child's father, for that matter, too, as well. So it could have been 3 different dudes. Again, It's dumbass people making dumbass decisions and then wondering why you act like a fucking child when you're 21 years old and you have multiple children already. Anyway, her family said, quote, she stole something from the store. Her grandmother, Nadine Young, told the newspaper, "You didn't have to shoot the woman. She would have eventually gotten out of the car. You didn't have to kill her and the baby." What the fuck kind of crackhead shit is that, Nadine? No, she was. No fucking Takina wasn't getting out of the fucking car. She was obviously accelerating to get away, you dumb bitch. Quit your fucking lies, lady. Like, this is what I'm so fucking sick and tired of, dude, is these fucking people's families. They're all like, oh, no, she was totally going to get... No, she wasn't. No, she fucking wasn't. She was literally shifting the shit into drive to fucking flee out of there is what it was, lady. You know that damn well for a fucking fact, and you know damn well that your damn granddaughter was doing a fucking terrible job as a parent, number one, by even doing the fucking shoplifting to begin with, and number two, to sit there and try to justify her fucking actions just shows what kind of piece of shit you are, lady. I'm so fucking sick of it, dude. I really am. Because, again, it's the same fucking shit all over again, dude. It's generational fucking welfare queens in this country is what it really is, honestly, at the end of the day. Anyway. Okay, I guess that was it for that one. Then you got some other stories here, too, of two pieces of shit, by the way, and the moron Justins in Tennessee that should both not only be out of office, but should also be sitting in a Tennessee state prison right now, in the same prison cell. You got GOP silences Tennessee 3 Democrat on his House floor a day after, or for day, on out of rule order. Crowd then erupts over the whole thing. By the way, for those who don't know, Justin Jones, the moron with the mic in his hand there, is the same motherfucker who was doing BLM terrorism in 2020 during the riots. He was actively trying to beat people up in their vehicles and stuff like that, actively blocking traffic, etc., committing multiple misdemeanors and felonies for that matter. Should have never been allowed to assume office ever in this country is what it is, dude. But yet we're allowing this shit to go on continuously in this country. And we're allowing dipshits like that to fucking represent places like Memphis, Tennessee, which, by the way, is one of the biggest fucking crime-ridden shitholes in the entire state, honestly, dude. And one of the biggest crime-ridden shitholes in this entire country, honestly, for that matter. So, yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. And again, like, the entire problem is you have people who refuse to actually admit that we have an issue in this country. And when you don't actually admit that the problem is with a certain demographic of people, we cannot actually deal with the fucking root cause issues of that then and get along with our lives after the fact, dude. But white supremacy is the fucking go-to thing now for the mainstream media and how it has been. And they got to keep pushing that bullshit narrative down there in Florida. Even though I heard last night, I guess apparently there was there's some kind of video evidence or something now that there was some other chick there that was a black girl who was actually talking to the guy who shot up that dollar store there and was like, he was cool with me. And it's interesting, too, how they were portraying that dude as white, too, because I saw the pictures of that guy, and he looked very mixed or even, like, Mexican, honestly, dude. So, yeah, they're definitely just trying to push a fucking agenda right now, and it's definitely, like, black on white hate crimes and stuff like that, or just black on white fucking race war kind of shit is what it is in this nation, honestly, dude. And I'm sick and tired of that crap, too, for that matter. So, because, again, and it all goes back to something I talked about last week, for that matter. You had Trump's indictment happen. You had everybody across the spectrum right now, from white people to black people to Asians, Latinos, Arabs, etc., all backing Donald Trump now for 2024. And now all of a sudden, it's a whole situation of like, oh, got a race divide, you know? And it's like, oh, people have woken up to the shamdemic that we're going to try again now. Oh, got to start a race war now. It's like, that's what mainstream media is trying to do right now, honestly. Seriously, dude. And I'm just fucking sick of it, honestly. Not to mention for that same vein of things, here in Ohio, you got the stupid fucking cunts behind the actual abortion movement in November, who are now trying to sue Secretary of State Frank LaRose and the board that actually passed the new language that actually rightfully changed the term fetus to unborn child. Because, of course, that's what the left is, dude. They're a bunch of demonic fucking pieces of shit. They're actual demons at this point in history who want to sit there and actually they're not killing kids in the womb is what it is, dude. which they very much are. And just like with this chick here in this fatal shooting, 6.5, 7 months along almost is what it is there. That's exactly what they want kids to be killed at, dude. They want to go to Planned Parenthoods at that time, have people go to Planned Parenthoods at that time, etc. here, and be able to off a kid at 7 months along, 8 months along, 9 months along, literally 5 minutes before giving birth, etc. And then not only that, they want to sit there and act like it's just an abortion amendment when in reality it's a copy and paste of what we talked about before of Michigan there, where it was not only abortion, it was also allowing kids to do so without parental consent. It was allowing kids to be on hormone drugs, literally sterilizing an entire generation of other children that you've already had born alive is what it is. We are literally in a fight of good and evil at this point, dude. People need to wake up and realize that real quick and get on the right side of history is what it is right now, dude. Because if you are not on the side of God, then you're definitely going to fall for Satan's bullshit at this point. And that's all I would say about that, honestly. So, anyway. I don't know what's going to happen anymore. Truthfully, I feel like shit's just being accelerated anymore. Whether it be Biden and company trying to grab guns, whether it be, them trying to kick off World War III between Ukraine and Russia and every other place, it seems like. Them trying to create race wars here in Ohio to, potentially steal the presidency a second time now. Who the hell knows anymore, dude? It's all just fucking nuts. But anyway, that's about where we're at for the day, though. I just figured I'd come on here and talk about this for a few minutes and discuss exactly what kind of fucked up shit's going on here in the state of Ohio. Because I'm sure that they're going to try to use, I'm sure, honestly, given BLM's terrorism in the state of Ohio recently in the last, couple months to couple years now is what it is. I assume that they're going to push this shit again, just like they tried to push, I can't remember what that one girl's name was offhand. It was the girl who was trying to stab the other black girl with a knife down in Columbus, and then it was a white cop who shot her to save the girl's life then. And then asshole LeBron was basically targeting that cop. By the way, LeBron James should be in Ohio State prison right now for that shit, dude, because he was literally threatening the life of an officer and trying to put a hit out on a cop at that point, dude. Like, how the fuck is this piece of shit billionaire in the fucking NBA still walking free to this day when he literally tried to put a hit on a Columbus cop? So, anyway. And then, of course, they tried to push that fucking race narrative shit, but it fell apart real quick because it was it might have been a white cop, saving, killing the girl, whatever the case be, but he was actually saving another girl's life at the time. And then, of course, we had the video evidence of that is what it was. So, who's to say who fired the fatal shot in the situation there in that suburb there? It could have been a white cop, could have been a black cop, could have been fucking an Asian or a Latino cop for that matter, for all the fuck we know. Hell, could have been a fucking Somali cop for all the fuck we know, man. So, anyway, only time will tell. I personally wouldn't mind seeing the body cam footage just to see officers of which, but like both their body cams would be just to see what either one looks like is what it is then. But, and then to see exactly which one was in front of the car at the time that had to fire that single shot is what it was then. Which, I'm not even going to lie, dude. Like, depending on how close that cop was to that car, like, that's a pretty good shot, man. Like, not because the thing is too, like, right, like your entire thing as an officer in this country when you become a law enforcement officer is to basically deal with a threat, like deadly threats and stuff like that, and potentially keep firing until that threat is subdued, is what it is. And the fact that that cop had enough wherewithal to literally bang once and just stop shooting after that is kind of amazing, honestly. And the fact that I was gonna say the fact that he shot at all is kind of but like in the same vein of things, like, yeah, if you're accelerating at someone, again, it goes back to a situation of she was obviously a threat to life at that point. A threat to that officer's life, obviously a threat to the general public, because not only that, like, here's the thing, right? Like, her grandma obviously was trying to claim that she was eventually going to give up or whatever the case be. It's like, no, she wasn't. What she was going to do was, I can guarantee it because I've seen it so many times before, dude, whether it be on things like OP Live, whether it be on old school stuff like Live PD, Cops, etc. You have these people where they will, and it is 99% of the fucking time, I'm going to say what it is, dude. It's a bunch of black males or females who will be doing something very fucking minuscule at the time, so like some basically misdemeanor crime is what it is, and they will escalate the shit into like 4 or 5 felonies for no fucking reason at all, because they're like, oh, I got scared because I thought I had like an outstanding warrant or something like that. Maybe you should have done a bunch of fucking crime than to think you had that shit, man. Like, Jesus Christ, seriously. And even if you do, like, so the fuck what? You pull over, you take the fucking hit, you actually have to be dealing with the consequences of your fucking bullshit actions. And you understand, this is how fucking law enforcement works. This is how actual law and order works in this country. But for some reason, they don't seem to understand that in most cases. And so instead of just taking a hit where it's like maybe a misdemeanor at most in most cases, no, they'll fucking go on a high-speed chase and do a bunch of other stuff, you know, maybe hit pedestrians, maybe steal another car, depending if their car crashes into something else, whatever the case be. And they'll end up committing like 5, 6 felonies in the fucking time span of like next hour or so, or something crazy like that, dude, in many cases. And it's like, for what? Because you literally were such a fucking dipshit retard that you didn't want to sit there and actually take the fucking slap on the wrist for the crime you've already committed at that point. And just like this chick, I guarantee what was going to happen. I can just picture right now, honestly, dude. She pulled the fucking shit in the drive, tried to accelerate out, would have turned it out of there, zipped out of there as fast as possible. You would have had those cops go back to their cruiser. Now they're in a high-speed chase with her ass. And it would have been fucking Jalen Walker all over again, dude. Where who the fuck's to say she didn't have a gun in the car at the time? You know? And that's another thing, too, by the way. Like, just because she was using the vehicle to potentially mow the cop down doesn't mean that she couldn't have also had a gun in the fucking car herself and pulled up a gun and started firing and shit like that, dude. Again, there's no mention of that in that whole thing, but, like, you never know, man. So, it's just fucking ridiculous, dude, is what it is. And like I said, to me, it's just like, for what? Like, you literally have 2 children at home that you could have been a good mother to, and potentially a third on the way that you could have been a great mother to, obviously. But instead, you're going to go do dumb shit. And now both you and the unborn child are dead. And now your 2 children at home no longer have a mother. Now they're going to be raised by grandma or great-grandma, or whoever the hell it is now. And now they're going to be growing up, and you're going to have grandma, great-grandma, whoever it is that's raising them there, be like, yeah, those fucking pigs killed your mom back in the day. They're fucking trash, you know, fuck 12, all that stupid shit like that. And it's like, no, fuck you people. Seriously, man. Because that's the kind of shit you're indoctrinating these young kids into being fucking future juvenile delinquents with that kind of bullshit. Because you're essentially saying, hey, you know, instead of actually giving the kids the real truth, being like, sorry, kids, your mom was a fucking idiot who did some stupid shit in her life and got herself killed because she fucked around and found out. But instead, they're like, oh no, blame the fucking cops, blame the fucking system about everything, dude. Not blame the actions of the criminal in this case. I've just had it with everything, dude, at this point, honestly. I really have. So, anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty much done, is what it is. So, that's better for today, honestly. I'm going to, I had to reinstall the game last night, or the little bit ago here is what it was, because apparently the rewards I was talking about the other day for the game that I play didn't come through, and now they're claiming they actually sent them to me, and they haven't gotten through yet, though. So I basically uninstalled and reinstalled the game now and seeing if it's not going to update from there and have fucking letters in there, whatever the case, because I tried to repair it multiple times now, it hasn't done anything, so I figured I'd just uninstall, reinstall, and then potentially re-log into the account and stuff like that and see if it doesn't go over there and automatically become a thing. That's what it is. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that will actually happen. I don't know. But that's what I'm going to do right now, honestly. So either way, I'm just fucking over it, man. And I think most people are at this point. You know, again, It's these things that you see time and again, just constantly, time and again. And, you know, originally it's you're trying to like sit there and be like, okay, what's the justification for this kind of thing, whatever the case be. And now it's just like, is it just people want to be assholes, honestly? And I think a lot of cases is what it is, honestly, dude. And again, like I said earlier, with that particular girl there, that young chick, it could have been a situation where maybe she wasn't the original criminal there, because it sounds like what the employee was saying, there was a bunch of people stealing shit that day. So it could have just been something where she just basically wasn't there trying to get some groceries or whatever the case be. And then, you know, everybody else just starts stealing shit. She's like, well, let me get in on the mob violence kind of thing, whatever the case be. And then she just grabbed some booze or something too, then, is what it was. Which, not trying to say that was okay, because it's not, dude. In fact, that's actually the worst thing you could do at that point, especially the fact that you were, 6.5, 7 months along. Because again, are you going to be drinking a bunch of alcohol later on then? Because that's a terrible parent, honestly, dude. And again, who the fuck is saying that her 6-year-old or her 3-year-old, for that matter, ain't already feed alcohol syndrome out, for that matter, too, honestly, dude. If you got your mom trying to steal fucking booze and shit while she's pregnant with your baby sister and stuff like that. So, I honestly think, truthfully, I think the saddest part of the whole thing is that the little girl that was in the womb wasn't able to be saved in this whole situation. Because that kid did nothing wrong, man. They did nothing wrong except be conceived into the wrong womb, honestly, is what it was. So, anyway. But at least, hopefully they're just back with God now is what it is. And maybe they'll come back down again as somebody else. That'll be the case then later on. So, because I do believe in reincarnation, honestly. I do believe that we are definitely... There is a lot of people out there that have had enough experiences in the past when it comes to stuff that we are definitely going to have people who've had past lives and stuff, dude. And have definitely been in multiple time periods in their life. So, anyway. She's gone here. Yeah, for those that didn't know, yesterday was actually the 18th anniversary of the day that Katrina hit New Orleans. Which is crazy to think that we have people now that are going to be voting for the first time in 2024 that were not alive when Hurricane Katrina happened. And it does kind of make, and again, it does kind of make me wonder, honestly. I've said this before, like, I said it many years ago, about probably 10, 12 years ago, honestly, when that shit was going on. And I was like, okay, how long is it going to take us to see the ramifications of Katrina with all the random bullshit that was in the water system that people were walking through all those days? Where it's basically like a mix between like raw sewage, dead bodies, human shit, random chemical spill-offs and stuff like that. Like you had a bunch of diesel and everything else like that in there. And it does make me wonder, like, are we is this maybe what we're seeing, the final after effects of Hurricane Katrina now? Where you have these people that were either like young children then, or it was, they were still in the womb or whatever the case be, and mom was walking through, fucking stomach deep water basically or whatever. And now they got all fucking retarded and shit like that from the chemicals and stuff that were all in the water supply there is what it was. Because it soaked into the mother's pores is what it was then, potentially. I wouldn't be surprised by it, honestly. And given the fact that it seems like there's this entire generation of like under 21 right now that just seems like, super criminals and stuff like that, and are just like, don't give a shit about anything, law and order, or anything else for that matter. It really makes me wonder and question that if that's the case then. So, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It all depends. I think some could be that, honestly, but I think there's also other mitigating factors to the whole thing, though. So, either way, it is what it is. But like I said, it pisses me off, dude. It really does, because it's like you have the family that just doesn't admit their fucking family member's a piece of shit is what it is, dude. And that chick's case with her grandma and stuff like that, who I'm assuming grandma pretty much raised her ass, is what I'm guessing, honestly, on that one, where it's like, well, if I admit that this, my granddaughter was a piece of crap criminal, then it basically reflects back on her as the adult in that girl's life who was raising her potentially. And I think that's what it is. People don't want to actually do that stuff. So, yeah. Jesus, I didn't realize you were that young, dude. Yeah, I was I'm trying to think now. What was Katrina? It would have been 18 years ago. So that would be 2005. I would have been 20 at that point. So I actually remember that too quite a bit. I remember Bush's failed flyover and stuff like that. And I would not be surprised if Biden had a similar moment this time around. Is what it is, dude. Where you basically have him going off and doing stupid shit. There is what it is. Yeah, the worst thing that George Bush could have done, honestly, dude, was that stupid flyover there. Because I was watching there was a show that I think it was Apple TV did this past year or something like that, and they were talking about how it was called 5 Days at Memorial. It was based on a book that somebody wrote of the same name or whatever it was there, because it was basically this hospital that was flooded out from Katrina and stuff like that. And it was basically about this woman that went like full euthanasia on a bunch of people that could have survived, is what it was. Had they actually had the medical facility to be able to get these people out of there, is what it was. So, and what's even more fucked up is that she basically tried to work with various like state legislators and stuff like that to pass legislation where she couldn't be prosecuted for her crimes she committed there, is what it was, by killing people. By literally injecting them with like various death drugs, is what it was, dude. It's just fucked up in general. And as far as I'm aware, like, I think she got like a little bit of time, but she's definitely walking free to this day right now, which is absolute bullshit entirely. So, but yeah, it was a good series though. The woman in question that was supposed to be the doctor was played by I'm trying to think what that woman's name is now. Her sister was the one that played American Horror Story in the first season as the daughter. Farama or whatever her name is. She played in that movie back in the day with Paul Walker where she was the wife and he was working for like gangsters and shit or whatever. And then the neighbor guy was like some Russian crazy motherfucker or whatever the case be. Or no, sorry. The neighbor guy was working for the Russian mob or whatever, and they basically got caught up in the thing. There's what it was. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Walker's character in that movie was undercover Fed or something, I want to say, but I could be wrong. Yeah, good movie though. I can't remember what it's called offhand though. I just remember the Russian dude in that movie like taking his shirt off and having like this big ass John Wayne full back tattoo though, because he loved the Duke, is what it was. But yeah, anyway, so just crazy shit, man. Very sad, very, very sad. But yeah, in that 5 Days at Memorial series, they basically were showing how when you had Bush's dumbass do the stupid flyover there, they were actually trying to get people out at the time, and you had a bunch of helicopters trying to land on their pads and stuff like that. But because Bush's dumbass was coming in, like, I forget if it was by helicopter or by Air Force One. I think it was by Air Force One. They obviously had to do the whole security clearance thing or whatever, where you had to have pretty much like open airspace and nobody could be around there. So you had all these helicopters and stuff like that that were about to land, save people and stuff, all turn around and go zip out then, because dumbass Bush was coming through, is what it was, dude. So yeah, George W. Bush definitely helped kill a bunch of people in Katrina, dude, 100%. And not only that, but then also you basically left a whole bunch of people there to, die on the fucking pavement on some bridge, is what it was, dude. And what's even worse is, and this is actually even crazier, they mentioned this at the end of that 5 Days at Memorial series, is how the levees that they installed back then, because the whole thing was, with Katrina being a giant soup bowl and stuff like that, you had a situation there where basically the levees themselves were not repaired for decades because everybody was a bunch of criminals there in New Orleans and stuff like that, like the various city councilmen, mayors, etc. there. And they were just embezzling a bunch of money out of the funds that should have been going to actually fix this shit. So they finally fixed the actual levees after Katrina happened. And they were talking about how it's either the end of this year or sometime early next year. They pretty much need to repair those levees again because they're already that eroded again. So yeah, you could easily have another Katrina happen in the next like 6 months to a year now, is what it is, which is just crazy and just nuts, honestly, dude. So anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the day though. I'm going to try to game here. I don't want to start this game up before I get off here because I think there's going to be noise in it is what it is. So, but yeah, I'm going to try to see if this works now or not and then get back to where I'm at then. So, and then I'll probably, as long as I can get my shit together here, I'll let you guys know one way or another later on today or something maybe. Maybe I'll do a gaming chat for like 15 minutes or something later on or something like that. Again, hopefully that 15 minutes doesn't turn into like a 2-hour chat. I don't think it will this time. It'll be legit like 15 minutes or whatever then. But like, or maybe even like 10 minutes for that matter, just saying, hey, I got the stuff, whatever then, or didn't get the stuff still, and having to deal with the fuckery of the goddamn game admin still. So, anyway, but yeah, that's about it for today, though. I know that Florida is bracing also for that Cat 4 hurricane right now. Idalia, I think that's what it's called, or something crazy like that. So hopefully it doesn't hurt too many people there, man. I know there was a bunch of fools there in some random ass island or something like that. There were like 100 people, whatever the case be. That's like, no, we're just gonna hunker down and stay here, man. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but like, you know, again, just to reiterate here, not for government overreach and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like, we don't want to find 100 dead bodies on this island. We're going to mandatorily evacuate your asses. Get in the fucking truck now or we're going to arrest you, kind of thing. So, like, that's what I feel like it should be, honestly, dude. Where it's like, no, this is a mandatory evacuation. You either get in the fucking vehicles or we're going to put you in the back of a cop car and take you to the fucking county jail someplace or whatever it's going to be there where it would be safe from the damn hurricane. And then we'll let you out in like 48 hours whenever the fucking shit passes what it is then. So, that's what it needs to be, honestly, in some cases. Because, unfortunately, stupid people are going to do stupid shit is what it is, dude. And then they wonder why they lose their lives or lose their loved ones is what it is there. And it's like, I get not wanting to leave your house or whatever the case be because potential looters and shit like that. But at the same time, it's like, bro, just fucking deal with it. Like, just batten down the hatches as much as possible. You know, put some shit around the thing, you know, put up some shutters and stuff like that. Hope your house is still there when you go back to it later on. And get the fuck out, man. Go drive someplace. Go spend some time with family in another state, for that matter, for a week or something, maybe, or something, until everything passes over and all the, you know, various different first responders go through there and everything like that and fixed everything that's going to be down, because there's going to be a bunch of power lines down, I'm sure, because even they got Ohio Task Force 1 going down there now with a few dozen people just waiting for the stuff to happen, and then they're going to go in there and they're going to fix all the various like down power lines and shit is what's going to be. So anyway, the thing is, though, like, okay, and that's fine if you're an adult over the age of 18 and everything like that, but what if you're like a father or mother, whatever the case be, and you have like a 5-year-old kid with you? Like, should that kid die because parent made a stupid ass decision like that to stay? I don't think so. Like, that's where I'm looking at it from the perspective of, because I don't know how many of those people of that 100 are actually adults and how many are underage. 18 is what it is there. So, I don't know. Just hopefully all of them survive. That's all I gotta say about it, man. Like, if you're gonna be dumb like that and stay, like, that's fine. But, like, you know, like, this is the way I kind of feel about it, right? Like, it's really a situation right now of this. Okay, you got 100 people on a fucking island that are like, oh, we're just gonna batten down the hatches and stay here, whatever the case be. And then it's like, you know, 3-4 days later, they're on their fucking rooftops, Katrina style, and being like, but we need help in evacuations by helicopter. That's going to cost a shitload of tax dollars now. Where in reality, they could have just left 3 or 4 days ago in a vehicle, and they wouldn't need that fucking assistance. What it would be, though. So, I don't know. Like, there's a reason why we have state of emergencies in this country, honestly. And I can tell you that firsthand. Like, being someone who's lived through a state of emergency for snow a couple times in my life, like, dude, there is some dumb motherfuckers out there on the road, even when we have like a level 3 snow emergency, which is supposed to be like only like plow trucks and shit out there. You got dumbasses literally doing like 60 down the fucking road when they should be going like 5. behind a fucking snowplow and stuff like that. So, yeah. Sadly, a lot of people are just stupid, is what it is, legitimately. And given enough time, a lot of people will show their stupidity, is what it is here. So, but again, like I said, it's up to them. If they want to stay on that island, that's fine, dude. But like, they should just not like that. Honestly, they should have been a thing in place where it's like, okay, cool, sign this waiver though. Like that's what I would have had if I was DeSantis and stuff. I would have just been like, just give them like 100 waivers to sign is what it is though, and the waiver would just be like, if something does happen, we're not coming to save your ass. Is what it is then. Until we see everybody else after that, then if that be the case, that's like way inland and shit. So, because truthfully, like that's what it basically is at the end of the day. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm just looking at it from the perspective of the storm surge that they were talking about when it was like a Cat 2 or Cat 3 and stuff like that. Now knowing it's going to be a Cat 4, you're going to talk. They were talking about like the Cat 2 or Cat 3 is what it was. It was like 7-8 foot waves or whatever. They're jumping up and shit. They killed a bunch of people there before that with other storms. So yeah, you're talking about it hitting as a Cat 4 potentially, maybe even a Cat 5 for that matter. Like, bro, like that's going to be a death toll for real. Like that's going to be Katrina level death toll probably, honestly, when it's all said and done. So I don't know. But yeah, everybody has their own choices, what it is, man. You know, it's free will. If you choose to stay at some place and then you die at that place, like, you know, it's on you kind of thing is what it is. So only yourself to blame is what it is there. But anyway. I think I'm just reiterating at this point, honestly. I think I was ready to call it after that then. So what was this one? Triple took us a week to get power. I remember, what was the one? It was like Hugo, I think, in Texas some years ago. I want to say that's what it was, like Hurricane Hugo or whatever. That was one that I remembered because you had a bunch of people price gouging like various like water and like ice and stuff to keep people's food cool from not going expired and stuff like that. And what was even more disgusting about that was you going back to what we talked about at the beginning of this episode, actually, you had a bunch of black males out there going and committing crimes. They were literally trying to rob shoe stores and shit like that during a fucking hurricane, dude. And it's like, really, dude? Like, this is your fucking priority, not saving yourself, not, you know, hunkering down, battening the hatches. No, let's go out and fucking commit crimes instead. Like, that is some ignorant ass shit right there, dude, for real. So, and unfortunately, that's some of humanity is what it is right now, dude. People just gonna do stupid shit like that. It's like criminal gonna criminal, you know, looking for any excuse to go commit crime is what it is. Just like what we saw in 2020 there with the fentanyl Floyd riots, dude. Some fucking drug addict piece of shit fucking ODs on the sidewalk, and some dumbass fucking cop puts his fucking knee in the guy's shoulder blade area, and everybody's talking about knee to the neck crap and stuff like that. And then everybody uses the excuse to go do fucking crime is what it was. Bunch of arsons, bunch of fucking looting, and various robberies and shit like that, and everything else like that. Actually, going back to this young girl I was talking about in this episode too, there was a dude in Minnesota during the fentanyl Floyd riots there, where there's a actual photo of this guy. It was outside that liquor store that they burned to the ground. It was like the huge flame or whatever then. And this dude legitimately had like 2 bottles in this hand, another 3 bottles in this hand, a few bottles shoved in his pants pockets. He had flipped up the bottom of his jeans to make like another pocket into his ankle area where he shoved like some more bottles is what it was. And then he had a whole backpack probably full of shit too. And this guy probably had stolen like 40 bottles of alcohol or something like that. It was just crazy. And it's like, goddamn, dude, like, fucking just. And then what's even worse is then you go back like 30 years or so in this country's history to the LA riots, 1992, the last time there was an insurrection act in this country. And then you wonder, you know, why the first places looted were a fucking liquor store then too. And that place was burned to the ground, and then so was a gas station in that area. And that gas station to this fucking day, by the way, there in like downtown Compton or whatever it is there, still has yet to be rebuilt over 31 years later is what it is now. So, again, it's people being stupid, burning down businesses in their own neighborhoods, and then being all like, I don't understand why I have a food desert now. And it's like, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have burned down the fucking grocery store after you robbed it blind, you dumbasses. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. And that's what's even worse about, like, Minnesota now, is after 2020 there, like, people were doing a recent update of that one a few months ago is what it was. And you had all these places where it was, like, a Denny's and an Applebee's, and there was, like, a Chick-fil-A. I think it was Chick-fil-A there is what it was. And then there was, like, some Wendy's and some Arby's and places like that, like various fast food joints. And then it was also, like, a few mom and pop shops, too. And it looked really nice in the previous pictures, and then they were showing, like, what it looked like now. And it was either a boarded-up business, an empty fucking lot where the business had been torn down now from after being burned out and stuff, or it was basically you had it like half-assedly rebuilt, but it's not really functioning anymore. So they basically took their place from like 30, 40 businesses to like one or two at most. And then they want to sit there and blame more racism or most systematic racism shit or whatever the case be. And it's like, no, you're just a bunch of fucking idiots. You literally burn down your own neighborhoods, and then you wonder when you're trying to blame the fucking white guy for it is what it is after the fact, dude. It's like, no, the sheer consequences and the actions, everything else like that, lie squarely on your dumbasses is what it is, dude. It's squarely on the criminal's hands. So, anyway. Damn ants are back again. Jesus. Grandpa's guns were underwater and moved for weeks. Cleaned up the wood sounds. That sucks, man. Yeah, I know it was kind of like that with Katrina too. Like, you know, there's a gun confiscation going on there quite a bit. And you had cops that would take like good, valuable guns and just steal them from their own collection. Is what it was there. And then you had, if it was like quote unquote like a junk gun, like a high point or something like that, they would just toss into like a river or canal that was on their way to like the station. Then is what it was. And that's why you had like, I want to say it was over 1,000 guns went missing. That's what it was. Maybe even more than that. Now I'm thinking about it. But yeah, there was a lot of guns that went missing during Katrina that were all stolen by police and stuff like that for their own private collections or just tossed in canals if they were not good quality or whatever then. And it's really fucked up, dude. And again, it shows the disarmament of this country and who would do the disarmament if given the chance and the opportunity is what it is. And it's exactly what they're going to do nowadays is what it would be. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we need, this is the thing with me personally, I feel like we need some level of law and order in this country, but then there's like, okay, there's that some level, and there's like that level above it that's like clear overreach is what it is. And I think that's the difference is that unfortunately you want something, but then at some point you're going to see that overreach, and that's when you're going to fight back against that is what it is. So, I don't know. It is what it is. So I never said I was 100% on board with the 25 thing. I'm more towards the thing of like 25 or civil service kind of thing is what it is. So, and the thing is, like, if you want to go to 18 to go, you know, do Habitat for Humanity or something like that, building houses and bettering community and shit like that, then yeah, voting rights are done, bro. You're good to go then. Again, it's giving people choices what it is there. So, my thing of it is, it's like, I'm just looking around at everything right now, honestly, and seeing like how many people are just like coming up and they'll just default vote Democrat at 18, honestly. And that's from my own personal experience, even for that matter, dude. You know, I was young, I was impressionable at one point, didn't really know any better. Default voted Democrat at 18, 19 years old. Back in 2004 is what it was. And, you know, obviously over time woke up to that bullshit and was like, nah, fuck that. And then eventually I was like, fuck Republicans too. Like, it's third party time, bitches. And that's why we need to basically force general assemblies across this country to stop having bullshit two-party primaries and do open primary and stuff like that and have actual, any party that wants to be on the ballot should be on the ballot kind of thing is what it is. And that's the thing. I've seen some great kids at 18. I've seen some terrible kids at 18. You know, I personally have been witness to family, friends, and stuff like that have raised kids right, and these kids across the board at 18 years old could easily be some of the best people to be running a local government or something like that. And then meanwhile, the same vein of things, you start looking into the various, like, the further you go into a city is what it is, honestly, in this country, the worse and the more, how am I trying to say this now? Less educated, I guess, is the best thing to say about it there. So it'd be the people that are all not, learning anything, the basics of like reading, writing, arithmetic, stuff like that is what it is there. Failing every single class they go to is what it is. It gets worse and worse the farther you go into the cities is what it is there. So it's just like LeBron James fucking school there, the I Promise school, where you have these kids now for, 5 years now, haven't been able to pass a state proficiency test at all. And it's like, really, dude, come on now. Like, what are you teaching these kids? They're not going to be able to do the basics of math or reading or writing, for God's sakes. Like, you are failing this generation of child, dude. And that's the problem right now. And that's exactly why the city of Ohio is now like, yeah, we might have to take the school from LeBron's ass now and just do it ourselves. If that be the case, just not have our own state fucked over when it all comes to funding and stuff, dude. Which I don't blame him for that one. It's like, yeah, if you're going to sit there and try to say, hey, course is fucked up now, it's time to reverse the course is what it is, bro. So, anyway. I can agree to that because that's the thing. Like, you even looked at back in, I'm trying to think what year it was, like the early 70s, I want to say. You could go buy beer at 18. You could serve your country, you could buy a beer, you could have a drink, et cetera, et cetera. And then it was sometime around there is when they raised the age of 21 all of a sudden, then for some retarded reason. Actually, there was that video that NEA was showing on the channel the other day where it was at Texas until like I think it was late 70s or early 80s, someplace in there. You could have people with an open alcohol container in their car. No seatbelt either, by the way. Like, they were just sitting there drinking a beer with no seatbelt on. And as long as they weren't like drunk or whatever, they could literally fucking drive down the road drinking a beer is what it was. And then you had them being all like, what do you mean we can't have an open container in our car anymore? This is some bullshit. I thought this was America. And it's some chick talking about like the steps of like communism where it's like, first it's this, then it's seatbelt laws, and next it's communism. And she's kind of right about that, actually. That's a sad fact. Like, both those two things, the first two things got into place there, and now it's like, we're slowly going towards that road to communist bullshit now is what it is. So, anyway. But, yeah, it's just funny. That being said, I do have to go, though. I got some shit I gotta do, though. So, I'm gonna call it on that. And I'll be back at some point here. Today is what, Wednesday? I'm not sure if I'll do another stream later or not. Buckshot Thursday will be had tomorrow, though, for sure. It'll be like somewhere between like 2:30 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not sure exactly when, though. So, Mr. 6. See what we have. Mistakes. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, we all fell for that shit, I think, in a lot of cases. I know I did. So, let's see here. I don't know. I just think it's indoctrination at this point in a lot of cases. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Well, again, it does sort of depend, because the thing is, like, this is something I've realized with my own self personally, is very much, even just having a father figure in my life as a child, being my uncle, after my own dad died and stuff, because I had that rock, if you will, I definitely was kept on a path to where I knew like the boundaries is what it was. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these kids now is what it is. You have it's either single mother households or even like no parent households for that matter, where it's like grandma raising them and stuff like that because both parents are in jail or dead or whatever the case be. And then, they're basically running the streets at, 7 to 10 years old or something like that. And they're stealing cars by the time they're, 10, 11, 12 years old, whatever it is there, and going on joyrides and shit. And then you wonder why these kids don't care about anything. And it's because they've never actually been raised with any kind of moral is what it is. They've never had an actual base of anything in their life, whether it be a father figure base in their life, whether it be an actual faith base in their life, anything like that is what it is. And unfortunately, because of that, it very much does reflect back on what we've done to society for decades now, which is basically incentivize single motherhood through government assistance programs and stuff like that, etc., and just all kinds of shit like that is what it is. And because of that, you basically have generation after generation getting worse and worse. You have criminals in this country getting younger and younger, and eventually, it's going to burn itself out. Legitimately, it's going to be something where you're going to have. Basically, it's like this: what the left keeps trying to claim with the right of like fascism and stuff like that, with like the fascist boogeyman kind of thing, whatever. They're going to create legitimate fascism in this country eventually. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen naturally, legitimately. You're going to have them that they're already pushing to the point where it's this just tick, 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 tick up of the pendulum swing. And the bolts on that pendulum are pretty close to being rusted out completely. And whenever that swings back, it's just going to snap off. Like I've said, I've used the analogy before. I'll use it again right now. The Game of Thrones episode where they blow up the fucking sept. And that bell tower goes flying and just wipes out a bunch of random villagers and shit like that, dude. It's going to be the same thing there with the pendulum swing. You're going to have the pendulum fly back, snap off at the top, and then go flying off and killing everybody is what it's going to be. And you're going to have some right-wing fascist dictator or something like that rise up from the whole thing, probably. And it's exactly what the left has been pushing this whole entire time, that they're going to create that fucking thing. It's just like the Mexican Joker thing from South Park and shit, dude. Where you have those guys, it's like the Border Patrol agent guys or whatever, where they're just like freaking all these little kids out and be like, who is the Mexican Joker? And in reality, they're actually creating one is what it is, because they're frightening these kids to the point where they're going to become one later on in their life is what it is then. And that's exactly what it is, dude. It's them you're creating a fear and a panic to where you're going to will that thing into existence eventually is what it will be. So well, and that's another thing too, and it is played against each other because you have the globalists, the Soros types, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, those people like that, who are controlling everything is what it is. Bill Gates types of the fucking thing, puppet stringing everything along is what it is. And it's literally trying to play left versus right versus the center is what it is. And in reality, we're all getting fucked at the end of the day. Whereas that's why I think they're so fucking scared right now. That's why they had them do the shooting there in the Dollar General the other day, because they realize everybody's starting to unite behind Trump as a central figurehead is what it is right now. And now they're just like, oh shit, gotta distract now or whatever, gotta create a race war now or whatever. Gotta do something here to keep our globalist agenda on track for 2030 is what it is there. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. But anyway, on that note, I am going to have to go for real, though, this time. So, hope you all enjoyed this. Come back around. We'll be back here tomorrow about, like I said, somewhere between 2:30 and probably like 4:30 or so, give or take, for Buckshot Thursday. Other than that, I might do something later on today. I'm not sure. I'm going to figure out the game stuff right now, and if there is something where I'm going to update that from the dog and stuff, I will, this is my dog rewards if I actually get those or not. I'll update you guys on that here in maybe like an hour or so. But other than that, that'll be the only thing other than that I put up today for the stream or whatever then. But yeah, I'm going to finish doing that stuff right now and then go from there as it'll be. So hope you all enjoyed this one. Have a good day. Hug your wife, hug your kids, hug your family, mom, dad, whatever. Tell them you love them because you never know. Today might be your last day with them. And hope everybody survives this hurricane right now, dude, because God forbid I just look at the news later on tonight and it's going to be just, numbers just ticking up and stuff like that. That's the last thing I want to see happen, man, is good people not surviving. And unfortunately, again, it goes back to what we talked about before, which is the dead only ever vote Democrat. Don't be a statistic, man, for real. Don't make yourself that statistic for the Democrat Party is what it is. So, anyway. I'm half kidding on that one, but I'm dead serious is what it is, man. So, anywho. But, yeah. Have a good one, y'all. I'll be back later. See ya.